Consider, for instance, a fae who believes that he has fallen in love with a changeling, and she loves him in turn. One day, though, that will all fall apart. A house of cards whirling in a callous wind. The fae might grow to hate the changeling's pandering attentions, or maybe the fae will one day ask a simple favor. "Please, my dear, pass me the salt." And in the changeling's hesitation, the fae sees gross disobedience, and so he snaps her neck, wondering at the sound that gurgled up from her collapsed trachea. Soon thereafter, he remembers the burbling of the honeyed brook outside his Arcadian home, and he returns to his world, managing to never think twice about how easily he killed his love. Changeling, the Lost. Hi, hello, and welcome again everybody to another episode of Natural Juan. So, after checking out the polls, it has come to my attention that more people would like me to do another video about another game. So, for this, I would like to thank John Jimenez, Leonardo Eugenio III, John Mosones, Nick Jas Flores for voting. Also, don't worry Jared, I'll be doing videos on books immediately after this one, so stay tuned. This time around, ladies and gentlemen, I'll be doing a video on Changeling the Lost, one of the many game lines found in the World of Darkness RPG. But before we do that, I'd like to invite you all to subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for notifications for more content like this. With all that out of the way, let's dive in, shall we? The World of Darkness RPG was originally created and distributed by White Wolf Publishing. They started with the old World of Darkness with Vampire the Masquerade, Werewolf the Apocalypse, Mage the Ascension, Changeling the Dreaming, Wraith the Oblivion, and a couple more. Then they started the new World of Darkness, which was slightly different in theme and tone, and Changeling the Lost was one of those games. However, World of Darkness, along with other White Wolf intellectual properties like Exalted and Scion, passed into Onyx Path Publishing, and the new World of Darkness was renamed as The Chronicles of Darkness. Changeling the Lost, like many of its fellows like Vampire the Requiem, Werewolf the Forsaken, and Mage the Awakening, are now in their second edition. That said, most of what I'll be discussing now will be from the first edition of Changeling the Lost, from New World of Darkness instead of the Chronicles of Darkness. Changeling the Lost, much like other game lines in the World of Darkness, as well as other products of White Wolf like Scion and Exalted, used the storytelling system. So, for this you need the core rulebook, pencils to write with, lots and lots of paper to write on, 10-sided dice or D10s per player, and, of course, as it is with most tabletop RPGs, your math skills and imagination. And, this being a game about fairies and their mysterious powers, that imagination of yours has to be really big. I mean absolutely huge. The storytelling system can work in one of two ways, much like computer games made by BioWare like Mass Effect or Dragon Age, wherein the story takes precedence over the gameplay. One is by simply measuring the stats of a given character against a difficulty. For example, your changeling ogre is trying to lift a heavy object. The ogre has a strength of 8 and the weight, which translates to difficulty, is about 5, meaning he successfully lifts the heavy object. However, if you want to incorporate the concept of chance into your game, you may include your D10s or 10-sided dice instead. The resolution of this style of play is decided on how many dice comes up with numbers that are higher than 7. So suppose lifting the object is just slightly difficult and the ogre must sneak past guards with it. Rolling 8 10-sided dice, the ogre gets 9, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, and 4. Because he gets 2 9s for his troubles, he gains 2 successes and completes his task. Changeling the Lost is a lot darker than its predecessor, Changeling the Dreaming. In the latter, you were some sort of hero that children believed in and fight nightmares, monsters, and boredom to preserve the imaginations of children. Changeling the Lost, on the other hand, is a lot more horrific and in line with other game lines of New World of Darkness. Here, instead of being aligned with good fairies who grant the wishes of children, changelings are the captured slaves of the alien true fae and force their bodies, minds, and spirits to change drastically. Gone is the positivity from Changeling the Dreaming, and relatively benign entities like the Tooth Fairy. All that's here now are the malevolent goblins and troll kings that abscond with children in the night and replace them with non-human creatures. These are the fair folk mentioned in the works of Walter Delamere, Algernon Blackwood, and Arthur Machen, and not the whimsical and endearing beings from the works of the Brothers Grimm and William Shakespeare. So to wit, most of you might want to ask just what is the meaning of the word changeling? Well, before I go into the current context of the word, changelings are believed to be the children of fairies or trolls that have been swapped with human children, at least according to old European folklore. In many stories, books, and media, the definition remains the same, with changelings of Pathfinder being the daughters of hags and children of fae and humans in the Dresden Files books. However, in Changeling the Lost, changelings are the escaped slaves of the true fae who have been changed into creatures that are other than human. Often they are tortured and broken by their experiences in the world of the true fae called Arcadia, and become quite different from the people they were before. To make matters worse, the changeling is likely to be replaced by a fetch, a kind of artificial human created from a piece of the changeling's soul, and has replaced the changeling in his original mundane human life. Making matters worse is that the true fae are most likely still searching to recapture their lost property, and ordinary humans don't exactly have a positive view of supernatural creatures in the world of darkness. To create your character for Changeling the Lost, you must first create a good prelude or background for them. This is where the storyteller system really shines, as you can be anything from a soldier from the battlefields of World War I, a courtier from Imperial Rome, or just an everyman doing his job and watching TV at home. After detailing the character before they were taken, you must then describe what became of them in Arcadia, the home of the true fae, and how they managed to escape their master's clutches. The real fun in character creation begins once you get to choose a seeming for your changeling. Seeming can be thought of as a character class just like Paladin or Wizard in Dungeons & Dragons. There are 6 seemings in Changeling the Lost, at least in 1st edition. Then you have Kiths, which are like subclasses or archetypes found in Pathfinder. The 6 seemings and some examples of their Kiths are as follows. First are the Beasts, which are changelings who have been transformed into animals, or at least animalistic beings. These are where legends of mermaids or fish people and magical foxes like the Japanese kitsune and Korean gumiho come from. Examples of their kiths include the broadbacks, beasts of burden like oxen, elephants, and even rhinoceroses, the windwings, flying creatures like birds, bats, and wasps, swimmer skins, aquatic creatures like fish, crabs, and squid, and runner swifts, fast creatures like rabbits, horses, and deer. Second are the darklings, who are lost and often the most scared of those taken by the true fae, and have, with time, come to embody their own fears. Darklings represent the unknowable nature of fairies, such as when they are portrayed as ghostly or even demonic beings. Examples of darkling kiths include tunnel grubs, underground dwelling creatures, leech fingers, vampiric horrors, mirror skins, or shape-shifting monsters, and grave wights, fae who communicate with ghosts and are often mistaken for ghosts themselves. Third are the elementals, changelings forced into becoming inanimate objects like furniture, appliances, and landscapes. These are thought to have inspired the ideas of river spirits and mountain kings in folklore and mythology. Kith examples include air-touched, wind-like beings, earthbones, beings of rock and stone, fireheart, people who are made of fire, and waterborne, creatures made completely of water. Then you have the fairest as your 4th, who are people of incredible beauty and or skill. They inspire stories of beautiful women of the woods or the mysterious, tall, dark, and handsome man who've come to take away the unwary. Some of the kiths available to the fairest are bright ones, those who radiate an inner light. Dancers, unparalleled dancers gifted with otherworldly grace, flowering, plant-like people with strange and intoxicating odors, and draconic, people who have been transformed into mythical creatures like dragons and griffins. Our fifth would be the ogres, who've been forced to grow to prodigious size and strength. They are the stuff of legends regarding giant monsters that devour children or protect villages. Good examples of ogre kiths are cyclopeans, strong and skilled warriors who are dismembered in some way, such as those with one eye or one leg, farwalkers reminiscent of Bigfoot and other mysterious cryptids, gargantuans, giants that tower above houses and buildings, gristle grinders or man-eating horrors, and stone bones, or rocky giants of old. Sixth would be our small but legendary wizened, who are humans forced to do specific tasks. These are where your stories of little people like gnomes and elves who make toys come from. Their kiths include, but are not limited to, artists, those who make artistic copies of existing works, brewers, people who concoct special beverages and are also skilled alchemists, oracles, those who can see the future like Norns, and smiths, expert craftsmen of various weapons, tools, and wares. After selecting seeming and kith, you may then choose a court or association of other changelings. This will have a profound impact on your character as each court functions as a faction of sorts for your changelings. To summarize these courts, since again I want you to have the pleasure of exploring them yourself, you have the Court of Spring, Summer, Autumn, and Winter. The Court of Spring concerns itself with living one's life to the fullest and taking joy in being a changeling. The Court of Summer is about anger and vengeance, seeking to attack agents of the true Fae and the fetches and solidifying one's place in the world. The Court of Autumn revolves around fear and sometimes includes scaring away mortals for their own good due to the dangers of the true Fae. The Winter Court focuses on sorrow and prefers to hide rather than fight the true Fae head on. That said, changelings may also choose not to choose any court to belong to, but in exchange are put through even more danger. Without a court to be part of, they are easy prey to the true Fae and their other enemies, and boys, there are a lot of them out there. In any case, that's it for this episode of Natural Juan. If you enjoyed this video and would like to see more like it, please subscribe to my channel and hit that bell for notifications. So, Mr. Musones, I hope you don't go to sleep in strange places anymore, because if you do, the true Fae might just be there to take you away. See you all in the next video.